Good morning, Uday and Bhargav. Today is Tuesday, October 10th, and here's the heads up briefing for today. Today's production to our clients consisted of a total of 75 issues. We covered 41 issues in East Asia Pacific, 21 issues in South Asia, and 13 issues in the EMEA region.
All right. Thank you, Bassel. Please go ahead.
I will be briefing you on the major issues of today's production. In East Asia Pacific, here are the top 4 issues for your attention. In Australia, workers at Chevron core liquefied natural gas facilities gave a notice yesterday to resume strikes on October 19th. The union members intend to begin new industrial action at the company's Gorgon and Wheatstone plants.
Thanks. Keep an eye out on that to see how disruptive these strikes are to Australia's energy sector.
Sure, Uday. In the Philippines, Manibela, which is a transport group, yesterday threatened to organize a massive strike and hold demonstrations in the National Capital Region and Calabar Zone on October 16th. The demonstrations are reportedly aimed at exposing the suspected corruption in the franchise approval for public utility vehicles within the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board. There will be simultaneous demonstrations in parts of the National Capital Region, including Metro Manila, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, and Central Luzon over the same issues. Uday, we covered this as the major development in our Southeast Asia roundup today.
Okay, good. Once we find the locations of potential protests, we should get that out to clients because these might be disruptive.
Sure.
Thanks.
Moving over to Thailand, the army is preparing to maintain security as the government is planning to scrap the emergency decree in the Narathiwat, Patani, and Yala provinces. The decree, which has been in place for years, was recently extended for 1 month. It is currently set to expire in 2027. There have been calls from various rights groups calling for its removal, claiming that it repressed locals in the area.
This is interesting considering that the decree has been in place for over 2 decades now, or nearly 2 decades. And it seems strange that the army would state that they're looking to cancel the decree just after they've extended it. So we need to keep a close eye on what's actually going on. Human rights groups have been calling for its removal for decades. That hasn't changed. So we need to see if there's a shift in policy from the new government towards the Deep South, or whether this is just speculation at this point.
Okay,
Thanks.
that's well noted today. In China, air and rail services have been suspended in Hainan province due to Typhoon Koino.
Thanks. Yeah. Let's just keep clients updated on more disruptions.
Sure. Moving over to South Asia, here are the top 2 issues for your attention. In Pakistan, Jamiyat ul-Islami Fazl has announced plans to hold a long march in Sindh province from October 22nd to November 2nd. The march will be held to protest against the deteriorating law and order situation in the province, as well as the ongoing economic crisis in the country. We covered this as the major development in our South Asia roundup today.
All right. Thank you for that. JUIF is one of the right-wing parties which uses the softer Islamist element, and they're trying to gain momentum and traction at the ground level ahead of the elections. They do have the potential to mobilize people at a very short notice, and they have done so before under Imran Khan and Sharif's government. So let's keep a close eye and keep our clients updated who have operations in and around the province of Sindh or travel through Sindh.
Sure, Bhargav. Also in South Asia and India, security measures outside the Israeli embassy in New Delhi have been increased in light of the conflict in Israel. Additional patrol vehicles have been deployed around the offshore residence of the Israeli ambassador and near the embassy building. Security measures have also been tightened near Chabad House, which serves as a religious place for the Jewish population.
All right. So the threat levels in India against the Jewish establishments, including the embassy, is comparatively lower, but it can't be ruled out, especially when the tensions are high. And some of the protests are happening in and around universities such as Jamia Millia Islamia. Although embassy itself is in a high security zone, so that shouldn't be too much of a concern at this point.
Okay, that's well noted, Bhargav. Moving over to the EMEA region, I'll brief you on the top 3 issues of our production. In France, pro-Israeli groups will demonstrate in central Lyon today. The protest will take place at 6 p.m. local time in Place des Bellecourt. Several thousands will take part in the protest. Bhargav and Uday, we conveyed this to our clients in EMEA via an advisory message today.
Thanks, Bassel. Yep, go ahead, Bhargav.
Yeah, so let's keep a close eye on such protests, especially those targeted at Jewish establishments in India and in Europe, especially in major centers such as London and Paris, where there is a higher concentration of Jewish population and businesses.
And also counter protests. Thanks.
Sure. In Russia, the parliament has given lawmakers 10 days to study how best to revoke Moscow's ratification of a treaty banning nuclear tests. This actually comes after President Vladimir Putin held out the possibility of resuming such tests. We also communicated this to our EMEA clients in an advisory message today.
Thank you.
Moving over to the tensions, actually the conflict between Israel and Palestine, the Israeli military announced today that it has regained total control of the entire areas surrounding the Gaza Strip. They added that there are no longer any clashes with Palestinian Hamas militants inside Israeli territories. The military is now focusing on fortifying the Gaza fence area, which was breached and destroyed at several checkpoints by Hamas militants. Also, there were isolated skirmishes that broke out yesterday between Hezbollah and Israel in the country's north. Bhargav and Uday, we communicated this to our EMEA clients via an advisory message also, and we also issued an assessment on this yesterday and an EMEA alert today.
Yes, the assessment was very well-rounded and touched upon the critical points. Some of the points we need to underline and reiterate is that the capabilities of Hamas and Hezbollah cannot be underestimated, and they have proven it time and time again. And this time it has been at a very high cost that they can be ignored, and we cannot write off any further escalation in the territory of Israel. And if we were to go by the statements of the ministers, including Netanyahu, the conflict is only going to get worse in the coming days or weeks. The only specter of hope is any negotiation to exchange prisoners, which at the moment seems bleak, and the Qatari initiative also seems to be faltering. Let's integrate closely with the clients and keep them updated and support them based on their exposure on the ground.
Yes, Bhargav, we are keeping a close eye on that. That's the heads up for today. Thank you both. Anything else from your end?
No, thanks, Bassel.
Thank you, Bassel.